Embark on a captivating journey into the mind of philosopher Alan Watts as he unravels the truth about religion. Discover the origins of the Bible, the authority of the Church, and the nature of divine inspiration as Alan Watts masterfully dissects the foundations of religious belief. Challenge your preconceptions and discover how religious authority is shaped by cultural background while gaining a deeper understanding of the diverse tapestry of human spirituality. In the realm of religious discourse, few figures can captivate and challenge the listener as much as Alan Watts, a philosopher known for his insightful and provocative views on spirituality. In a particular speech dissecting the truth about religion, Watts takes his audience on a journey through the historical roots of the Bible, the authority of the Church, and the nature of divine inspiration. Watts begins by unraveling the historical roots of the Bible, shedding light on a fact often overlooked by many Westerners. The Catholic Church played a pivotal role in the formation of the Bible. The New Testament, Watts explains, was authored by members of the Catholic Church, and they also assumed control over the books of the Old Testament, which were not definitively chosen by the Jews until the Synod of Jamnia in 100 AD. The creation of the Bible as we know it today, both the Old and New Testaments, was solidified at the Synod of Rome in 382 AD under Pope Damasus. Yet, Watts doesn't merely present historical facts. He delves into the consequences of this historical background. The Catholic Church, in its assertion of authority over the Bible, claims that the scriptures are given on their authority and through the informal tradition guided by the Holy Spirit. The Church maintains the right to interpret the Bible based on this perceived authority. Here, Watts introduces a critical question. What is the foundation of the Bible's authority? He argues that it cannot be the Bible itself, as anyone could claim divine inspiration for their writings. Various religions, such as Hinduism, Islam, and Buddhism, hold sacred texts with a commitment equal to that of Christians, making the determination of truth a subjective and culturally influenced endeavor. Watts goes on to emphasize the subjective nature of religious beliefs. He highlights the difficulty in finding an impartial judge, as individuals are inevitably shaped by the religious and cultural background in which they were raised. The authority of the Church, he contends, ultimately rests on the belief of the people. If the people do not believe, then the Church loses its authority. To challenge the claim that God himself is the ultimate authority, Watts raises the issue of evidence. He argues that without concrete evidence for concepts like the Day of Judgment, belief in such matters remains a matter of personal opinion. The absence of first-hand evidence forces individuals to rely on the opinions of others who share similar beliefs. Watts doesn't dismiss the right of individuals to hold their beliefs, even if they assert the literal truth of the Bible. Yet he introduces his own perspective on divine inspiration, distinguishing it from the notion of dictation. He contends that true inspiration rarely comes in words. Rather, it manifests in deep, ineffable experiences. Divine inspiration, according to Watts, may be expressed through love, wisdom, and mystical encounters. This leads Watts to explore the challenges inherent in expressing divine inspiration. Through language, he uses the analogy of a sound system, suggesting that the message can be distorted based on the limitations of the human mouthpiece through which it is conveyed. Language, in this context, extends beyond linguistic boundaries to encompass the cultural and religious context in which an individual is in. Subscribe to our channel and continue watching to discover more on the history of religion. Watts exemplifies the potential distortion of divine inspiration by discussing individuals who claim to be Jesus Christ.
Because if I say that, well, thinking it all over, I find that Jesus Christ is the greatest being who ever came onto this earth, by what standards do I judge?
He attributes their choice of language and expression to the religious context in which they find themselves. If a person raised in the Bible Belt has a mystical experience, Watts argues they might naturally interpret it using the language and symbols available in Christianity. To demonstrate the cultural relativity of religious language, Watts contrasts the concept of God in the Upanishads with the Hebrew understanding. In the Upanishads, Brahman is portrayed as supra-personal, beyond gender, and lacking the role of a creator. This differs significantly from the personal God of the Hebrew tradition. Watts emphasizes that individuals express divine inspiration within the limits of their cultural and linguistic background. As Watts delves deeper into the nature of cosmic consciousness, he draws a parallel between this profound experience and the inherent knowledge we all possessed as infants, the oceanic feeling, as psychoanalysts term it. In our early years, we struggle to differentiate between self and world, acting upon the universe with an innate understanding that everything is interconnected. Yet, societal conditioning swiftly erodes this primal wisdom, replacing it with distinctions between voluntary and involuntary actions. The philosopher contends that, over the course of life, those fortunate enough rediscover their true nature. Everyone, in the eyes of ancient Arabic and Hebrew terminology, is a son of God, signifying a being of divine essence. Watts interprets this phrase not as a literal claim of lineage, but as an acknowledgement of one's alignment with the universal force. Watts dispels the notion that cosmic consciousness or divine realization is exclusive to a specific religious or cultural background. He asserts that such experiences can manifest spontaneously, irrespective of one's spiritual background. This perspective challenges the tendency to confine spiritual revelations within the boundaries of a particular faith, encouraging a more inclusive and expansive understanding of the divine. Building on this premise, Watts introduces the idea that figures like Jesus of Nazareth, Buddha, and other spiritual luminaries might have been individuals who, through their early encounters with cosmic consciousness, attained a profound understanding of their unity with the divine. This perspective positions these spiritual figures not as unique divine entities, but as exemplars of what every human being could potentially realize. This experience, Watts contends, is not exclusive to any particular religion or culture, but can manifest unexpectedly, akin to falling in love. The philosopher emphasizes that divine inspiration, whether through meditation, dreams, or archetypal messages from the collective unconscious, is always filtered through the language and cultural context of the individual. The limitations of language, as a tool for expressing the indefinable, contribute to the variety of religious and spiritual narratives across different cultures. In addressing the assertion of some individuals that they are the reincarnation of religious figures like Jesus Christ, Watts adopts a sympathetic stance. He suggests that these individuals, shaped by a specific cultural and religious upbringing, express their profound experiences using the only religious language available to them. The cultural expectations surrounding the return of a divine figure, as depicted in the Bible, shape the way they communicate their experiences. In his characteristic style, Alan Watts weaves together historical insights, philosophical reflections, and a touch of humor to engage listeners in a thought-provoking exploration of the foundations of religious authority and the nature of divine inspiration. Through his words, he encourages individuals to question, reflect, and embrace the diversity of human spiritual experiences. Watts concludes by inviting his audience to reevaluate their understanding of divinity and cosmic consciousness. He encourages them to embrace the universality of these experiences, transcending cultural and religious boundaries. In doing so, Watts challenges the exclusivity often associated with religious doctrines and opens the door to a more inclusive and interconnected spiritual model. In the grand tapestry of Watts's discourse on the truth about religion, he not only dismantles preconceived notions about the authority of scriptures and organized religion, but also extends an invitation to explore the boundless realm of personal and collective spiritual experiences. Through his words, he prompts listeners to embark on a journey of self-discovery, encouraging them to look beyond the limitations of language and cultural conditioning to uncover the profound truths that underlie the diversity of human spirituality. Alan Watts' speech on the truth about religion is a powerful invitation to question, reflect, and embrace the diversity of human spiritual experiences. He encourages us to look beyond the limitations of language and cultural conditioning to uncover the profound truths that unite us all.